Quinny goes to them all. Quinny goes to them all the time.
No, there is.
We've got a guest, man. Shut up.
I know, all right.
Good evening.
Is it anyone important?
If he's on Zoom or if he's on the phone. Good evening, Aidan. How are you? Yes.
You're a bit quiet. Turn yourself up.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Get someone young, Aidan. That's good to sort that sort of thing out.
Okay, gee.
How are you?
Yeah, very good, Luke. Very good, thanks.
Good. When you look back at this season, are you chuffed to bits with it or not?
Yeah, no, happy enough.
No.
We're happy enough, yeah, no. So I suppose we listen, it went okay. I suppose the two horses in the Guineas early on just kind of set us back when they didn't have a clear run after. But no, we ended up with some nice 2-year-olds, we think, going forward for next year, and we're looking forward to Luxembourg as well next year.
I mean, you mentioned him, Aidan. He was unlucky in the 2000. It was a remarkable job to get him back. We all know about the win before going over to France. What happened to him? It was a strange sort of injury for him.
For Luxembourg,
yes.
Yeah, he pulled muscle up high in his hind quarters after the Guineas. Obviously the plan was to go to the Guineas and go from there to the Derby, and like when that happened, obviously obviously the plan was to go from Epsom to the Curragh, and obviously when that happened, then we had to stop really, and he had to have a good while in the box, and then to get him back, it was we were lucky really to get him back really.
Isn't it funny, Aidan, how things have changed over the years? You know, years ago, you'd never have a physiotherapist or anyone like that sort of on site. But now we've got a feature actually coming up with a guy called Christian that does it. And it's so important. People don't realise you've got to try every avenue to keep these horses on the road, haven't you?
Yeah, I suppose they're like athletes, and like they have physios and chiropractors and everything that human beings have to help them. I suppose it's the very same thing, really. They're flesh and blood, and they have muscles and they have bones, and all those things have to be kind of kept serviced, and like obviously the vets are there with him the whole time, like doctors, and I suppose it's the very same as human beings, really.
But have you still got a lot of good ex-jump jockeys riding out? Dean Gallagher still with you?
We do, yeah, Luke, absolutely. Dean is a great fella, like obviously very important to us, and absolutely delighted to have him. Really, listen, it's a privilege for us to have him, really.
One of the fun horses that we've enjoyed watching so far this year, Aidan, Blackbeard, because of all his antics and everything else. And you mentioned there, you're always one for mentioning the team around you. You must have some experienced riders and people on the floor around him all the time.
I bet they're delighted when they see their name next to him in the morning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Stephen rides him all the time, and he's obviously he has his traits and his ways, but it's all part of his makeup, really. Like he's always goes forward when you want him, and he's obviously very exuberant in everything he does, and the way he behaves and the way he shows you his well-being. But like an unbelievable horse, really. To have a horse with such pace and being able to race so often, and tactical speed, really, and have the character that he has. Like, we're always trying to get them to develop a personality here, and like we always believe the real good horses have a personality, and by God does he have one, So it's very strong, very unique, as everyone has seen, but he has all the pace and the ability to go with it, really.
And sorry to jump tack on that, Aidan. I always remember you mentioning about George Washington when he came out into the yard, if you like, even just that aura about him, that leader of the pack mentality that he had wandering around.
Yeah, absolutely. And this horse has as well, and he's a standalone horse, and he doesn't depend on anybody or any other horse to help him along. Like he's a big personality, and he's not afraid to show it, and that's the way he is. He's a very strong mind, which is very important, and like he's obviously a leader, and obviously if he was in a herd, he would be the dominant colt, and there's not too many horses like that come along, really. Most of them are happier to get a leader, be sitting in there, and not to be rising their head above the the barrier, but he is always like he comes out and he shows everything, and he does what he thinks he should be doing, and he's not afraid of that. But that's an unusual trait in a horse, and like I say, it's very hard to get it in a colt, really.
But it's good in lots of ways, because if they lose that sort of, if you train a horse too hard and they sort of lose their will, lose their spirit, that defeats the object as a racehorse, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But he has loads of. But like, if you ever see him at the stalls, like the minute you ask him to go forward, he goes forward, and if anything, he goes forward too quick. Like he stands back and he throws out his front legs, and next thing, bangs in their head first. You know what I mean? So it's listen. He just has an awful lot of personality, and like he's obviously, like I say, if he was in the wild, he would be a natural born leader, really.
Yeah. Two big runners over in France, Covent Garden, Adelaide River, both go in the same Group 1 over in France tomorrow, Aidan?
Yeah, but both of them are stepping up in distance. So it will be interesting. Like, obviously, it's going to be tough ground over there. We thought there's a good chance that they would stay and they would get the trip. They will mature into lovely horses next year. They're two big scopy horses. So hopefully, Jason.
And Doncaster, it's going to be real testing. I think they changed the ground to heavy for the last couple of races there today. Aesop's Fables, big drop in grade for him tomorrow.
Yeah, he's we were toying with the idea of going back sprinting with the Breeders' Cup sprint in mind, or something like that, or we'd know where we were going next year. But with the ground turned heavy, and like, we're not really sure, like, we're going to learn much. So we didn't think it was going to get heavy when we were declaring him. But he's very well, and I'd say he definitely is going to be naturally a very quick horse for next year. I suppose we'll see how bad it is there tomorrow and see what we do. But he came out of his last race very well.
On form, Augustus Ronin looks as though he's got a favourites chance anyway. Would he handle that ground, do you think?
He doesn't definitely want it. He's a beautiful moving horse. His mother won in soft ground rhododendron, but I suppose we'll have to see. But he definitely doesn't. He's definitely not a soft ground horse. He's a beautiful moving and loads of class. Really, nobody has really seen what he can do yet on the track. Listen, obviously not ideal, but I suppose we'll see. He's very fit and he's come forward loads from Leopardstown. But whether it's the right thing to bottom him in bad ground or not, I'm not sure. And the lads obviously will have a discussion about that, what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I watched him go clear last time, and then he just seemed to say, right, I've done enough. I'm here, and he sort of cantered up towards the line, if you like. We're only scratching the surface with him.
Yeah, I think so. And it was his first run back in a long time, and it was treated like that. So, but he's came forward a lot from it at home in his work and with everything about him. So, like, we were very happy and are very happy the place he's in at the moment. And obviously the thing is the heavy ground, and that's the unknown thing, whether we let him run for experience or whether we don't run and keep him for next year. Like, he has done enough if he doesn't run, but I suppose it's all going to depend on how bad that ground is tomorrow. Have
you seen much of AP recently or not?
No, not much.
You haven't been out to ride out then? Stick him on Blackbeard if he comes in.
Yeah, that's it, exactly.
Have you got many of the Breeders' Cup, Aidan?
Yeah, we've there's plenty of chances. We think we've so much chances. We have obviously we'd have Broome and we're thinking of Stone Age also on the turf. We Order of Australia could be the mile. Choosy the fillies. Toy, we'll see whether she goes as well. Horse called Zero that won a group race at Leopardstown could go on the juvenile. A couple of fillies, Never Ending Story and Meditator in the fillies turf at the moment, and then we've obviously Blackbeard in the sprint, and we were looking at Aesop's Fables. But
he had to do that to you, didn't he, Luke? He just had to do that. He knows you can have a million runners at the Breeders' Cup.
Well, I didn't know how he was going to have, did I?
I mean, put him on the back.
You had to write them all down.
I'll put him on the back foot, he said. Right? He's like that, Aidan, He's a funny bugger to work with.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, look, we've kept you long enough. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks very much for taking time out. Good luck tomorrow.
Top man. Thank you, Aidan.
Bye-bye. Thanks, lads. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Have you got anything for the Breeders' Cup? I'll just go through the 42 we've got running over in America, Luke. Thanks very much for the question. We're off for a break.